The following podcast contains naughty language and ridiculous situations. Listener discretion is advised.
2024 is coming to an end, or rather, I guess when you're hearing this, it may have already come to an end. It was a pretty phenomenal year of film, and especially in horror, and we're about to give you our top 13 lists. We had to narrow it down from 61 films down to 13. It was very difficult to do. We have some honorable mentions, and we also have a Patreon list from our Patreon listeners who submitted their lists, and we put them all together and came up with one Patreon list, and that's going to factor into the final vote. So, looking forward to jumping in, talking about the year in film. So, welcome to Trick or Treat Radio. Welcome to the 2024 Top 13 Year-End List. I think I did that out of order, but still works. We're doing the 2024 Year-End Show. We got a lot of films to talk about. We got our Top 13 list to toss out there, and we're going to wrap it all up with one big old master list. And from there, you guys can find out the top 13 films of the year. Based on the opinions of your loyal hosts and Patreon listeners. What are you doing there, Raven Shadow? What's up?
I was turning over the little
hourglass,
red light, green light. Yeah, the thing from the Brazilian restaurant we got years ago.
The one where someone gonna die, man. That one.
Yeah, someone gonna die tonight.
Was that the one?
Yeah. So this is the one. Yeah.
Oh. I don't remember what that is. What is it?
It's,
you turn it over when you want more meat. Is that what it is?
Right. It's like red's no meat, green is meat. So
what are you right now?
Meat, bro.
All right. Well, Raven Shadow's a meat bro, 10 out of 10. Brother, yeah. Meat brother rating.
I got a Salisbury steak rating out of 10.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and start with our top 13 lists in just a few moments. But before we do that, I want to talk about the year in film. We did 61 films this year and one series. So let me make that clear. We had a series that was chosen for a Patreon takeover by our boy Double D. So we talked about The Edge of Sleep. We did disqualify that, not because Double D picked it, not because it was a Patreon takeover, but because it was a series and it doesn't fit in with the top 13 films. You could argue that it was a film because all 6 episodes was just under 2 hours, so it kind of was a feature, but that's not the way it's supposed to be digested, and it's based on a podcast of the same name that is serialized. So it just made sense to not include that. So 61, this was a fucking barn burner of a year. MZ, I know you were talking about it, and we kind of in our chat while we were putting our list together, I think we all kind of talked about how this was a pretty crazy year. So MZ, what did you think about the year?
This has been the best year for horror in a long time, even surpassing Trick or Treat Radio. Its existence. I can't remember a time when in recent years, in the past, I would say in this century, that horror has been this good. It's incredible. I mean, it started off a little slow, but as the year progressed, more and more great horror just kept on pumping out. It was incredible. It's matured. It's sophisticated now, and I think that's really good for the older folks like us, and maybe not so much to the kids who want to see the slice and dice, hack and slash type of blood and guts films, that we had when we were kids. You know, they want theirs, and they're getting theirs. You know, it's a slow trickle, but it's coming. But for the most part, it's been a hell of a ride this year for mature, sophisticated horror, and I am thrilled to be a part of it.
How about you, Raven Shadow? What are your thoughts on the year in film?
No, I would agree. Even just doing it for the almost 13s we've been doing the podcast, you know, this going through the list that you sent on the amazing spreadsheet that Wolfie made. Those who don't know, Wolfie made an amazing Excel spreadsheet.
It's not Excel.
The amazing Technicolor spreadsheet.
It's too bad we don't name these episodes. That'd be...
Wolfie and his amazing Technicolor spreadsheet. I'm not sure who invented spreadsheets, but it was amazing. And going through the list, like, holy shit, this
Dude,
was
you
this
don't
year,
have to. You don't have to put me over. You know, like Jesus Christ.
I do need to put you over.
No, you
let's be
don't.
honest.
No.
I do. No, I'm saying that. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is looking through the list, like, oh shit, this was this year. Oh shit, I thought it was last year. You know what I mean? So like, there's a lot to choose from.
I don't know
Right?
if he's.
That's.
I have no idea
my
what he
God.
just said.
No, so
Talk about the year in film. There's a lot to choose from.
Yeah,
That's
forget
the
about
same every year.
spreadsheet.
That's the same every year. There's a lot
Thank
to talk about.
and that's why this year is so much more important and impressive, Wolfie, because of the selection. It really was like there really was no looking through the list. I'm like, you know, there was no real big major stinkers or like there was some shit that was fucking dope. And I think from top to bottom, this might be the biggest positive year of films we've watched and discussed. And I think because of that, it's actually going to be a very difficult list to choose from because with so many options, you know, on some lists, there's a guaranteed, all right, we're probably all going to have the same top 5, right? Or we're all going to have some overlap. Like, I don't even know where this is going to go because there's so much diversity of what we watched and to select. So this might be, while it might be one of the best years of horror and film as a whole, this might be the most divisive list we've ever had.
We'll see. I mean, I'm not sure about well, I guess we'll see when we get there, but I'm not sure about divisive. I think that it's easy to say, oh, well, like any of these films could be number one, you know, like I don't know, like I feel like not any, but like there's any number of films is what I should say. So I don't think anyone's going to fault anyone for, you know, having one, you know, at 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. So I don't know if it's divisive so much. Unless Raven Shadow is foreshadowing his pick.
So maybe not divisive, but I think we might not have the same list. I think our list could be all over the place for our own reasons. And there's no, there's probably at least, I would say there's at least from the jump, at least seven films that could totally be in any one of our top 5. And even leaving some off, I could be like, yeah, that one's dope too. It just didn't make my list. Like, so yeah, maybe that's better. No hate, but just, oh yeah, it just wasn't mine.
Yeah. And so for me, I think one thing I noticed, I think that this year there is a higher level of quality for the bigger budget horror. And I don't necessarily mean like, you know, like fucking big budget, like Hollywood, like tent pole, you know, summer film. I mean, there's a lot of, you know, like there's bigger stars attached to some of these films or stars on the rise. Whereas typically in a lot of horror, I feel like it's a lot of unknowns and a lot of genre people who that's what they do, right? So I think this year horror did appeal more to the masses. And not only is that because of, a film like Terrifier 3 being the number one film in America for a couple weeks or a week or two. Not only that, there's also, like, I don't know where this one's going to end up, but Godzilla -1 did huge fucking gangbusters, right? Like,
Right.
A film like that really sort of transcended, I guess languages or, that happens almost every year. There's always like at least one or two foreign language films that really sort of penetrate into the horror sphere. But yeah, I feel like just this year there's a lot of bigger budget and I don't really mean bigger budget. I mean like just more weight behind them in terms of star power and directors and things like that,
100%, Wolfie. If I can piggyback on that, it's more than just star power. It's more than just putting Jessica Biel in a Texas Chainsaw remake or putting in, the flavor of the month or, Paris Hilton in House of Wax, in terms of like, I guess air quotes or whatnot, celebrities. But there was some work this year that it put, your A-listers, Hollywood A-listers.
Oh, A-listers.
Oh, where are my sides? But it had like, A-list actors in some pretty heavy fucking subject matter, where they weren't afraid to get dirty, and weren't afraid to immerse themselves into the genre, and a lot of first-time genre people, or maybe first in a long time genre people.
First time, long time?
First time, long time, so I think it was impressive that a lot of, your bigger name talent were involved in things that were pretty hardcore.
Yeah. Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. So, all right. Is there anything else you guys want to get off your chests before we dive in? Anything else you wanted to mention about this year in film? No?
Not really. I thought MZ was going to jump in, but he was really excited. But that's cool.
He is really excited.
You can tell. Look at
that. Wow, look at all the enthusiasms.
Oh my god!
Look at that hollow look in his face. He doesn't even hear us. Look at that.
It's like you can just.
Is he glitching? Is he glitching? Is he broken?
Oh, he's definitely broken.
He's not even laughing. We're not even funny. Jeez.
Is he dead?
He must be frozen.
Montero, please blink.
I legitimately thought he was fucking ribbing us.
Yeah. Just being pretty Raven Shadow stupid. I want to talk about movies.
Movies. Yeah, he's gone. He gone.
He gone. He left.
He gone.
That boy gone.
All right. Hey.
I guess I'll just take it from here then.
Yeah. All right. Nice having you, MZ. Glad you did all that work for your list or nothing.
Yeah. That's fun.
Well, we'll give him a few moments and see if he comes back. I'm still setting up this fucking spreadsheet.
So yeah. So as we discussed, you know what I mean. There was so many. We see some old genre favorites. Old little Nicky Cage. Came out swinging with 2 pictures this year. From Pig to Longlegs.
What'd you call him?
They call him Daddy.
Wow.
Daddy Longlegs.
That's creepy.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Well, so are the movies he was in. Are we going to see crazy, over the top Nicolas Cage? Or are we going to see a more subdued version? We'll have to talk about it. We saw the big up and coming Hungarian tigers like the great Sydney Sweeney. Don't judge her on Madam Web, but she was in some weirdness with the great. Was it Javier? Was Javier in that? No, he was in the other one with Hunger Games. I think kind of similar. But
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, that movie Mother. Remember Mother? Didn't Mother have Mockingjay in that?
Was it Javier Bardem?
Javier Bardem, yeah,
I think that was him in there.
in Mother with
Mother.
Mother, the
Yeah,
Glenn Danzig.
it was Javier
biopic.
Bardem.
But I just like, and again, I think horror movies are very punk rock, heavy metal, much like the comic genre, and I think horror really got a big mainstream push this year, and I'm really looking forward to discuss that.
What did it? Was the pending election, the election results? People omniscient and knew it was coming.
This better be a great year for punk rock. This fucking
fuck.
come on, Black Flag, come on, write some stuff. This should be a great year for anti-authority entertainment. I'm really worried about MZ right now.
Well, he said lost internet. Hold on. So
no, good.
Yeah.
That move to Maine was awesome.
I know, right?
More snow, shitty internet. Good choice, brother. Not around your friends, no apparatus, but that's cool.
Let's see. Trying to do this fucking. Come on, man! I'm trying to do this fucking spreadsheet shit. What? Now I am. Maybe I should use Excel, Raven Shadow.
See, I'm saying it's really Microsoft pick up, but so it was really challenging, and I guess just to get ahead of myself, we watch so many films a year. You know, I was at dinner the other night, and someone was like, "Oh, so what have you been watching on the podcast?" And I'm like, "I don't know," just because
I don't know. I like that.
Yeah. Just because we watch so much, and it's lives are hard, and we watch our films and do our bits and stuff. But to really look back and just really see the whole year in review, which I guess this is what this is, and I made my list, getting ahead of myself, over what I immediately remembered, and that's kind of how Mary and I went through. And I know I do all the jokes about not watching movies, which, did I watch all of them this year? No. Did you know I didn't watch all of them? I don't think so. But the point I'm trying to say is I'm professional.
Yeah. Okay.
And
well, since you're a professional, let me run down the master list for 2023. How about that? Just to kind of review last year, kind of set the scene here. So 2023, this is the master list. This is the final, once we've tallied all the points. And number 13, what's funny is I don't remember this movie, and that's not often that I don't remember movies. Oh, you know what? Oh, I just looked it up. I totally remember it. I didn't remember the title. Okay, but number 13 last year was Birth, Rebirth. Do you remember that one, Raven Shadow?
I don't think I do.
Okay.
Maybe it's the title.
Yeah, same, because I looked up on IMDb and saw the poster and immediately knew what it was. It was a morgue technician successfully reanimates the body of a little girl, but to keep her breathing, she needed to harvest biological material from pregnant women.
Oh my gosh, yeah, totally. That was fucking good.
Yeah, so that was it's funny like that they really should have used a different name, because it's not memorable. Birth, Rebirth.
No.
So anyways, Birth, Rebirth, number 13, number 12, The Blackening. That's a memorable name.
Yeah.
Number 11, Knock at the Cabin. Number 10, Renfield, Bring Me My Ass Cane. Number 9, Cobweb. It's funny. I think we're going to have a movie named Cobweb on some list this year.
I was going to say, wait a minute.
That was the Cobweb with Anthony Starr with the kid. You remember that one?
On this year's list?
Last year. And I'm doing last year's list.
Well, my list is not quite locked in there now, is it?
Wait. You did the South Korean. I thought you went back and watched all the trailers. There was a South Korean film named Cobweb for this year, 2024.
Well,
Jesus Christ.
That's why I didn't save my spreadsheet. Oh, you know
Wow.
what? It didn't make my list. It
Okay.
came close.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 8 was Devils. That was a movie we did late last year. I think it was in December double feature Cram Jam.
Okay.
This is another, I think, South Korean film. Number 7, Brooklyn 45. Number 6, Sisu. I know you like that one. You like the Sisu. Bo is Afraid. Number 5. Number 4, No One Will Save You.
Yep.
Number 3, Onyx the Fortuitous and the Talisman of Souls.
I'm gonna take a big old shit.
Number 2, Infinity Pool. And number 1, When Evil Lurks.
Wow.
So that was last year. As you can see, when we compare lists to this year, there's a big difference in, I guess, once again, I need a better term for them because they're not like low budget or big budget. It's sort of like more
Say mainstream.
More mainstream, yeah. I guess that's a better way of putting it, actually. I think there's more mainstream ones that are going to be on the list this year. Because if you look at our list, like Onyx the Fortuitous, like that's not mainstream. When Evil Lurks is not mainstream.
No.
Let me see. I forget who was in No One Will Save You. Oh, that was the Hulu one, the Alien one. That was kind of like, I guess, kind of like in between. I wouldn't say it was mainstream, but it was a Hulu release. And then, obviously, Beau is Afraid is definitely more of that sort of mainstream, being directed by Ari Aster. But then Sisu, Brooklyn 45, Devils, Cobweb, all pretty much below the mainstream. And then Renfield, Knock at the Cabin, I would say were, in that mainstream sphere. So, yeah, I think this year, we'll find that there's going to be more mainstream stuff on the list, but we won't know until we start. And we can't start until we have MZ, so I don't know what the fuck is going on here.
And I think mainstream should not be a dirty word.
No, I agree.
When it comes to horror, where it may have in the past, right? Mainstream horror was, fucking Lawnmower Man for a while. Dr. Giggles or, shit like that, or insert whatever the fuck remake, the Fog remake with TV's Tom Welling.
You got to bring him up, don't you?
I fucking love Tom Welling. There's going to be Cruiseville this year in June.
A what?
Cruiseville.
I don't know what that is.
It's going to be in June. There's a small cruise.
Smallville Cruise. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going?
I hate boats, and I've never been on a cruise. I don't want to, but I want to swim with dolphins with Michael Rosenbaum. That would be fucking awesome.
Swim with dolphins with Michael Rosenbaum.
Oh, that'd be so much fun.
Wow.
I would love that. So what I'm trying to say though, we look at that kind of mainstream horror, but this, you get The Substance, right? You get Terrifier 3.
Yep.
Fucking, which bucked, numerous things. The studio wanted to buy it and make a remake and would totally make it Nerf, and probably PG-13. But the creators were like, yeah, no, we've done it this far. We'll just do it ourselves.
Yeah, we're good.
And their box office numbers proved it. So again, horror and mainstream as of this year, and hopefully the only color that Hollywood cares about is green. So if the dollars are there, I think 2025 might be able to build on that momentum. You know what I mean? We're new original stories.
Yeah. I hope so. Yeah, I think that would be pretty awesome. Yeah, so and another thing that we sort of alluded to earlier is kind of mostly joking, but political, the socio-political landscape does find its way into art. And I would not be surprised because let me finish that sentence. I would not be surprised if we see some really dark shit that comes out in, even in some of the more mainstream films, because, granted, we had some stuff that came out of like, from the 2016 election, 2016, 17, 18, 19 into 20. And then things got, like, okay, cool. Things are a little bit better. But now it's either going to be worse or it's going to be a complete shit show that nothing happens. I'm having a hard time, like, trying to figure out what that's going to be. If you follow stuff going on social media now, it looks like it's just going to be a fucking morass of like fucking infighting and whatever. And I feel like not much is going to get done. That's my hope. But still, there's some scary shit that could potentially happen, and I think that's going to affect people. So I think it will come out in the art, and I think we'll get some darker stuff than we got in like the late 2010s. And
right,
yeah, and I think that'll seep into the mainstream as well.
Well, look at that. Would you consider the 80s an era? I wouldn't say a golden age, but at least for us of our age group, was a kind of golden era of horror, and that was fucking right in the fucking Reagan administration. Both of them.
Mm-hmm. And after Vietnam, and it was a
right.
I feel like there were like a lot of that stuff, especially like the slasher, like the rise of the slashers. I feel like that came about just kind of a need to be outrageous, like the stories weren't really there. It wasn't about story. It was about spectacle. And now I feel like it's a little bit more. It's about weaving story into spectacle to make a point, right?
100%. Whether it's the 42nd Street sleaze that came out of the 70s. I mean, hell, even look at the, whether intentional or after the fact, from Night of the Living Dead to whatnot, to Dawn of the Dead, the consumerism, and maybe because maybe that's why things are pretty good overall in the 90s. Horror sucked. Like maybe you gotta have things gotta be bad to have good horror. Like, Brain Scan. Okay.
I fucking love Brain Scan.
It's dope, but it's like when 401ks are doing good, horror sucks.
Right. Yeah.
But the trend that I want to see moving forward, and a trend that we've seen, and we'll definitely discuss it, hopefully today, if Monster Zero may come back, is that the characters in this film, in some of these films, where they are actually three-dimensional characters that you care about, and if we can see a shift from evil corporate guy number 1 to jock number 4 to big titty girl on the left, vapid characters that you don't care when they die. I think that the best thing about a horror movie, or any movie, and if a character does die, is the emotional impact of them. We're like, oh shit, really? Like, you want them to get away, and it's not like, kill that motherfucker.
Cocksucker motherfucker.
Cocksucker motherfucker. We literally like, get out of the house. Run.
There was shit, I was just about to say something too. I'm still doing the spreadsheet, so I got distracted. Yeah. You hit on something though that made me want to add to it. Okay, I remember now. So even events like, I would not be surprised if we see at least a couple movies next year that are inspired by Luigi and the fucking United Health.
Oh
shit,
And we talked about this in one of our other chats too. I mean, I don't know if this is the term, but like, the lack of a better term, the eat the rich culture.
Yeah. And that is, you're right. I mean, that is something that we've had in the past quite a bit, but like, I feel like it could get taken to a different level,
100%. I mean, like you had like your Travis Bickle, but like, there was a movie, I think we talked about it in our chat, called Wisdom, which isn't a great movie. It had Emilio Estevez and young
I haven't seen
Demi
it in a
Moore.
while, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it as a kid. You never really saw it on cable a lot, maybe a little bit, but basically he was he was kind of a rich boy. I think his dad in the film was Thomas Skerritt or John Skerritt. He was in Top Gun.
Oh, Tom Skerritt. Yeah.
Tom Skerritt.
Yep.
And basically Emilio Estevez's character kind of came from privilege, but lost himself, couldn't find a career, and ended up like doing like bank robberies, but he would steal and set fire to like deeds of people that were losing their houses, in like the Midwest, and became kind of a folk hero, where people would hide him, almost like a Legend of Billie Jean type thing. Obviously, there was the British film Eat the Rich that had Lemmy and a few other awesome rock and rollers at that time. I believe El Goro covered that on the Great Talk Without Rhythm podcast. But yeah, man, I think people fuck the real villains. Fuck a fucking hockey slasher and a fucking
right.
The real villains are the motherfuckers in not wearing a hockey mask, but wearing fucking 3-piece suits.
Exactly. And I could even see something like someone making sort of like a subversive version of that, where we have almost like a Patrick Bateman style, like fucking CEO. But then at the end, there's like a, maybe there's like a final girl or something like that, or final boy that takes him out, like I could totally see something like that.
Or something like The Most Dangerous Game with all these rich fucking,
you know what? Maybe all these rich fucks put, instead of, maybe in order to prove people's fucking, insurance claims, you have to fucking win this fucking battle royal,
Right.
Let's make that.
Yeah, it's
and then everyone decides, you know what, like, fuck this guy, we're all going to team up and we're going to take him out.
Yeah, put these fucks in fucking gladiator fucking in a coliseum.
Yeah. Okay.
There he is.
Yeah,
we have to stop our good conversation now because MZ's back.
Yeah. Well, that was a great top 13. We'll see you next year, folks.
We actually did have a pretty good conversation, right? We're talking about what films could, like, what could 2025 could bring with all the stuff going on in the world right now. So yeah, interesting topic. I'm sure it's something we can dive into a little bit more at another time. But yes, now MZ's back. We have to get into our lists. So.
Yeah. It was a huge bang, and we then lost internet. It was a huge bang.
Who's banging?
How the fuck do I know who's banging? It could have been a gunshot for all we know.
in the mean streets of Sheboygan?
Well, I know it's not you banging.
Yeah, right.
So. All right, so let's jump in. Let's do the top 13. I'm going to leave the Patreon list I'll do the Patreon list at the end. I'm still actually compiling it. Plus, we can go through that quickly, and we'll add them into the master list. So let's begin with MZ. And MZ, once again, criteria, kind of give the criteria of what, what. Okay, Raven shows what you did to choose your list.
Yeah, well, of course, there's certain films that I do leave out because to me they just don't qualify. Let's see what else. There was a lot of films where I felt like that I might have given a good review and not a great review. Yet when I looked at the list and I'm remembering the films, and I'm like, that film's better than the film I gave a better review for. The film that I gave a good review for is a better film than the film that I gave a great review for. So I had to toy with that mentality and wondering if I overrated some of these films to begin with, or underrated. Some of them are even underrated, and then better off than I thought they were. But I noticed as the year progressed that the film started getting better and better and better. So most of the films, or some of the films, I should say, on this list is going to be dealing with films that pretty much hit the second half of the year.
All right. So kick us off then, MZ, and let's hear the number 13.
Okay. All right. My number 13 is a foreign film, that had me riveted, and it's consistently exciting, where even the CGI was useful. It didn't overplay its hand. And I thought, this works great, because it adds to the film. It doesn't detract from it. The CGI is not terrible. It's actually quite good. But then again, we're also dealing with dark areas. So the CGI used here in its dark locations helped that out. The performances were really solid. And some of the effects were really, really good, not counting CGI, but some of the effects themselves were really, really good and believable and convincing. And it also hit me in a spot that really gets to me too, because I don't like this either. So my number 13 film, I was infested. Yeah.
All right. And we will have a Evil Dead movie coming from that director. Yeah.
Well, what?
There will be an Evil Dead movie coming from that director soon.
Yes, I know, and I'm already dreading it.
But
we'll see.
Sebastian Vanacek. So
Yep.
I think they announced the name of the movie, but I actually
Evil Dead.
Burn.
Evil Dead.
That's it.
Burn. Yeah.
It's in pre-production. Actually, it won't be out till 2026, I guess. I thought it might have hit late next year, but no, it'll be 2026. So Evil Dead Burn. Yeah, I agree. I think that was definitely an interesting one. So, all right, MZ had. Oh, you know what we forgot to do? Shit. You know what?
Our best. What is our best films?
Yeah. Do you guys want?
Well, we can still do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, no one can say infested for me because I just said it. So.
Damn it. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So yeah, let's back up. We got a little screwed up. Not MZ's fault, but he lost internet and we got off track a little bit. So yeah, MZ, why don't you make your guesses then, since
okay.
Since you just went.
All right. Well, for you, Wolfie, I am going to select. I'm going to select The Substance. And Raven Shadow, I am picking.
It's so hard to pick for him.
It is. It is. It is
because
so
he doesn't.
difficult.
You know what, MZ? When you were gone, let me just add this. He thought the Cobweb movie was the one we did last year. He didn't know it was the South Korean one. He thought it was the one with Anthony Starr that we did last year.
With Baby Busey.
Yeah, with Baby Busey and
Baby Busey.
Unbelievable.
I think Raven Shadow's going to select Strange Darling.
Oh.
Okay.
Really?
All right. Raven Shadow, what do you think
right.
top picks are going to be for me and MZ?
All right. For Wolfie, I'm going to say Poor Things. And there's no Transformers movie this year.
It wouldn't even be in his top fucking 5.
I don't know. You know what? You're a fucking nut. I don't know. I'm gonna probably go for MZ Godzilla -0, -1. Godzilla -1. You like Godzilla?
He does like Godzilla. All right. Man, I haven't even thought. I got to look at the lists again for you guys. You know what? I hate to piggyback. You know what? Maybe I'll choose something else. I don't know if I want to piggyback.
What? Just pick what you think is the best one. That's all.
What do you think what we're gonna say?
Yeah. Fuck.
Go with your gut, Wolfie.
I don't know. I don't know what my gut's saying right now. Man, sorry, I'm just looking through the list real quick. I guess. God damn. All right, for Raven Shadow. All right, I'll go with this one. I'm going to go with Humanist Vampire. I'll just say that. I won't say the whole
I forgot about that one.
No,
Fuck.
you didn't.
I didn't.
And for MZ, it's easy to say Godzilla. I think I'm going to go The Substance for MZ. So we each picked The Substance for each other. All right, so I chose The Substance for MZ and Humanist Vampire for Raven Shadow. Raven Shadow picked Poor Things for me, Godzilla for MZ. MZ chose The Substance for me and Strange Darling for Raven Shadow.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's get back to the list. MZ, your first pick was Infested, or I should say 13th pick. So Raven Shadow, what is your 13th film?
So by 13, I want something a little fun, a little fun loving,
Yeah, you gotta have fun.
Just kind of put the fun tip in a little bit, see what happens. And with that said, I like practical effects. I think it's fair that most of us do. And we'd like to see maybe a return of an old school brother that maybe didn't get quite enough of praise as his tag team partner, if you will. We all know Marty Jannetty and the career of Shawn Michaels. We all know the career of George Michael and the other guy. But my money was on this actor. Apparently, Keanu Reeves was the one that really made a big splash. So my number 13 is a little fun, joint called Destroy All Neighbors.
There we go. Jeez, we finally got it out of him.
Well,
all right. So Destroy All Neighbors for Raven Shadow.
with the great Alex Winter.
Yes, of course. All right. And let me pull up my list here. Okay. So criteria. Yeah, man, this is a really tough year to narrow it down. When I did it, I kind of knew my top 13 fairly quickly. I only made like minor changes. I do have a bunch of honorable mentions, and I kept going back and forth. I was like, oh man, well, should any of these honorable mentions be put on? And I just couldn't bring myself to put, to replace any of the top 13. So the top 13 to me seemed like it was pretty solid, but there was a lot of movement in there because the quality of film this year I thought was just so good. And literally, I think any one of these films could have been number one in previous years. I think the top 13 is almost that good. It's crazy. And I know MZ gave me shit all year for picking so many treats this year and so few tricks, but really, I don't think there were that many tricks all year from any of us. There was a few, but it was a pretty good year, right?
I would say getting the Dear God No award is probably the hardest it's ever been this year.
I agree. There's one that stood out for me for that. So, not like head and shoulders. It wasn't like the most fucking miserable thing, but I knew right away what the worst one was. Okay, so let me just give my 13th. And this is MZ had a foreign film for his 13, and I also am going to have a foreign film for my 13. It's not the same one though. But this one, I just feel like this one had such a cool aura to it, and it did some things I'd never seen before, but it was still like inherently very South Korean, in the characterization and how you cared about the characters. And I think it kind of went over the top a little bit in some ways. Towards the end of the film, it got really crazy. But yeah, for me, number 13 would be Exuma. That was a pretty memorable flick, and that would be my 13. All right, MZ, let's hear your 12.
My number 12 is another foreign film. This has really good performances. It's got good character development, a good story arc. Even though it really ultimately does not have a ending, I think it's that ambiguity that kind of leaves it open to either A, think of the ending for yourself, or B, come up with a sequel. And I, for one, would love to see a sequel to this, because the way this film was made is incredible. There were attempts to try and do it, at least give the appearance that it's creating this magical way of filmmaking, but always falls short. But this time it was done, and it was done right. It's exciting. It's fast paced. It keeps moving. It never slows down. Interesting dialogue. Although I do say that, the plot does tend to be unoriginal, but still it's that excitement that's within the filmmaking that keeps it interesting. And so my number 12 film is Mads.
All right.
Wow.
Really? I'm waiting for him to say, really?
Oh, he'll say it in just a minute. Don't worry.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, it's such an achievement, that film. Yeah. So yeah, definitely can't argue that. All right, Raven Shadow, number 12 for you.
All right. You know what I mean? We were talking about, some political things earlier in the program, and it's funny. I think this movie definitely nailed something that I thought was not going to come out to pass. Big ups to everyone who didn't vote this year. Go fuck yourselves. But would I think a movie on my list that was a almost 40-year sequel to a film I never saw, but yet I felt had gore, had some fun characters, had gore, and definitely had a political allegory to what will soon be happening in the days after this episode drops, would be 2024's Street Trash, man. I was really surprised by that, and I liked it. Fuck you.
Why do you have to say fuck you?
I don't know. MC was had a face on that he bothered me.
Jeez.
I'm just kidding.
Wow.
With you.
Oh, all right.
Hey, it's genetics. I can't help it.
All right. Street Trash. Number 12. I like it.
I like the little. Yeah, I like Street Trash.
Oh,
it was gross.
You see on the side of the road, you pick it up.
Yeah.
All right. So Raven Shadow picked Street Trash for his number 12, and my number 12. One thing I'll add about this year is not only did it have like a good quality horror for the mainstream, I feel one thing that improved this year over previous years was likable characters.
Yes.
And characters you rooted for.
Yes.
And one of the films that we saw, I don't know, it was a little earlier in the year. I think it was maybe in the first quarter, first few months. Just really I had some issues with some of the elements of it, but overall, it was just a really sweet film and cute. And you know what? Maybe in my older age, I'm softening up and I'm cool with that, and I like that in my movies. But I don't know, like this movie really it brought me back to the 80s and early 90s.
Yep.
And also I really enjoyed the conversation. I remember we had a guest on this one. But yeah. Number 12 for me is Lisa Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Just a fucking
Yep.
cute, fun movie. I liked it. So number 12, Lisa Frankenstein. All right, MZ, let's go with your number 11.
My number 11 is a love story. One that I truly enjoyed quite a bit. And I'm not a sucker for love stories, but this
No,
was
you're
good.
not.
Did I say I'm a sucker for love stories?
You said I'm not. I said, yeah, no,
I'm
you're
not.
not.
I was going to say.
Yeah, no, I know.
No,
I know
no,
you.
I was right.
Yeah, you were.
No, I was right.
I was
I'm
what
not a
you
sucker
said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a sucker for love stories. I'm not a big fan of love stories. You know, most of them kind of suck, and they're trite and typical. But this one's a little bit different, and it's got a nice little twist with the characters, with the storyline. I love how the story unfolded. I gave it another watch a few days ago, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? This is pretty good. I was certain that it was good, but when I watched it a second time, I'm like, yeah, this is really, really neat. It deals with crime and of course romance, like I said, and it also has Ed Harris with one of the greatest mullets in the history of film.
Oh, yeah.
Love Lies Bleeding.
Yep.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that was a tough one for me to place. But yeah, I really liked it too. Directed by Rose Glass, who I think has a nice big career ahead of her, with Saint Maud and then Love Lies Bleeding.
Oh,
Yeah.
Raven was like, damn it, I forgot that one.
fuck.
All right.
I just blew up his whole list.
Yeah. All right. Raven
Way to go,
Shadow.
Putin.
Let's hear your number 11.
No, and that's fair. I thought we were all on the same page, and truly, just to throw it out there, I tried to go by with what I remembered, not as much as what I forgot.
Well,
And
that's going to be pretty difficult.
Yeah, it'd be hard for you to remember what you forgot.
I think about more than I forget, to quote Lil Wayne. But I tried to pick films that just I want to talk about at 10 o'clock break, that kind of stuff. We're over dinner, nice chicken parm. But I'm going to piggyback to what Wolfie said. I do love stories, and I do love 80s aesthetic, and I do love, like to paraphrase our friend Slaygoth. What? I'm going to put on my Slaygoth to go out, which is great for the 80s. So my number 11 is Lisa Frankenstein.
Look at that.
Yeah.
All right. So Raven Shadow has Lisa Frankenstein. Okay, that's your number 11. And let's see. I'm literally juggling like 10 fucking different tabs, so I have to go back to my list. Let's see here. Okay, so yeah, my number 11. This film, it was such a film, like I guess like a love letter to filmmaking, I guess is how I would put it. It was done by one of our probably most best reviewed filmmakers on the show of all time. We've done several of his films, and this one was definitely a little bit different than some of his others, but there was something just so endearing about it, and it just was such an interesting story, and the way it was told, being sort of like a meta take on filmmaking. Just, oh man, I really loved it, and I kept coming back to it. Like, I just knew it had to be on the list. I had trouble placing it. And maybe because we talked about it earlier in the year, it's why it ended up a little bit lower. But I remember having a really fun conversation about it too. and that would be the latest film from Kim Ji-woon, and that's Cobweb. That's the South Korean Cobweb, Raven Shadow.
Whoopies.
Just such good filmmaking. It's so fun, and it's such a interesting story. And I mean, it truly is. I mean, I know there's another Cobweb last year, but I feel like this was very apropos, the title of it, because it was kind of a cobweb of how it all kind of fit together. So yeah, Cobweb for me is my number 11. So let's go. MZ, number 10. You're muted, bud.
What's the point of going on a killing spree if you're just going to go on it by yourself? You got to have a friend along with you, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes friends comes in all shapes and sizes, come from different lands, comes from different backgrounds, or from different times. And that's the story that we have here. It is, once again, another romance film. It's loaded with 80s aesthetic, loaded with neon, and I just love the way it was structured. The character development here. They had a fun time with the wardrobe. You could see that plain as day. Just a lot of fun, and it was funny at times. It was goofy, but that's part of the learning curve when you've been dead for so many years. And so my number 10 film is Lisa Frankenstein.
Wow.
Wow. Showed up on all of our lists.
Wow.
Wow.
Hey. Really?
Really? All right, there you go. Lisa Frankenstein showing up on all lists. So MZ's number 10. All right, now let's go to Raven Shadow. What is your number 10?
As we talked before, Hollywood A-listers dipping their toe in the gore pool, and this was a film that, to my understanding, did get a pretty big mainstream push towards the end of the year, and it had an actress that maybe hasn't really worked in the horror genre, aside from potentially, if the legends are true, her backside was featured in poster art. But this movie had one of my favorite actors of all time in a fucking downright gross performance, not only in his belief system and his verbiage and how he ate shrimp, but it also, took the piss at what is beauty, what is aging, what lengths will we do to fix what we don't like about ourselves. And I'll tell you right now, I got fucking more than a top 13 of things I don't like about myself. So I would go with The Substance.
All right. The Substance from Michael Ravenshadow, your number 10. I have a feeling that's going to show up later. All right. Let's see. Pull up where is this fucking spreadsheet? Holy shit. Okay. There we go. All right. My number 10. I actually had trouble placing this one. I had it higher originally, and then I was just thinking, like, there's so many good films. Like, I just ended up moving it down a little bit, not because I feel like it needed to be moved down, but just the order I put them in today. Tomorrow, this one might be higher, but I was really surprised by this film. I had actually heard about it in previous years because it came out a few years ago, 2018 or 19, and we almost did it on the show, and then for whatever reason, it just got pushed out because we had other stuff coming out, and so we didn't end up doing it. But it was chosen for one of our Patreon takeovers. And I'm so glad it did, because I probably wouldn't have seen the movie otherwise. And that is the film directed by Jan Gonzalez, known as Knife Plus Heart. There you go. MZ, did you get that sound on your bingo card? Your Raven Shadow?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. But it
really?
will be next year, because I'll memorize it from now on.
So if you had told me on paper like this movie is going to be like a movie about making gay porn, and like it's sort of like a giallo and like all these other things, I would be like, oh, I'm sure it's interesting. I never would have thought that it would be on the top 13, but holy shit, it was just such a good fucking movie. It was shot so well. It was interesting, really interesting ideas and concepts. So yeah, for me, man, it is Knife Plus Heart. All right. Back to MZ, number 9.
Yeah, number 9 was a fun film, man. It moves at such a frenetic pace, and it deals with so many different types of characters, to the almost an ensemble cast where everybody is so different. But that works. That works for me. You want that differentiality when it comes to characters. So neither one of them is like hopping on the other as far as their development is concerned. But it's fun. It's violent as hell. And it's cute in a way. Because when you realize what you're dealing with here is basically a vampire ballerina, it turns into a fun thing. It's got its spooky moments, but nothing outright scary, but it is highly violent. And I think the little girl who played the titular role should be getting some sort of awards, because she was just a blast to watch. And this is, of course, Abigail.
Really? No, I'm just kidding. All right. Yeah, Abigail.
Oh, Abigail. Fuck, yeah.
What? He just said
What's
the
the matter? You don't.
That's a
what, did you
delayed
forget
reaction.
That one too?
Doesn't matter.
Oh my God. Your list
Apparently
is
it does matter
your list is
because look how you're
compromised.
reacting.
Yeah, your list is compromised.
It's not compromised.
Yeah, it is.
It's just ruined. That's all.
Yeah. It's not compromised, it's just ruined. It's like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
Oh, that was fucking
You better
good
look at the
too.
list and see what other films you forgot.
No, don't. No, don't.
Yeah, we'll be here for hours.
All right, Raven Child, number 9.
I'm going to use this touchscreen on my Chromebook to find this list again. What?
No, he's
All right. Well, Abigail was a good fucking movie. Check that out.
Jesus Christ.
Maybe you should check it out first.
I did. That was good too. Fuck. But no, this movie, while I did see a trailer for this, and I was mad because it went very long in the theaters, especially when the voiceover was like, going surprised, and they kept showing more and more fucking of the movie. But it's got my dude. He was CW's Impulse on Smallville. He also was in the Linus recommended Dinner in America film, which Mary and I have a strong love for. And while Wolfie criticized certain elements, I thought it was those elements that worked for me. And that would be Strange Darling.
No.
All right.
Well, there goes mine.
Yeah. So Raven Shadow, number 9, Strange Darling. All right. So let me go to my list again. Here we go. All right. My number 9. Once again, this is a tough one. This one I thought was just one of the coolest horror movies we did all year, and it probably had the best jump scare in a horror movie that I've seen in years. It was so different and well executed, and the tension was just I'll do a French kiss, as Raven Shadow likes to say. I mean chef's kiss, but Raven Shadow doesn't say it correctly. So
I like what I say.
And this film was directed by a director we've seen one of his films previously that was reviewed fairly favorably, but this one is definitely, I think, a step above. It sort of does what he does in a better way, and that is the film Oddity. And it just was such a creepy film, and the tension was just like off the chain. I really dug Oddity, and I can't wait to see more from the director. So there you have it. That is my number 9, Oddity. So let's go back to MZ.
Yeah, my number 8 is a film it's strangely violent. It's got a certain cameo in it that I was not expecting. I don't think any of us were expecting it, but he played it off so well. It's just got amazing character arcs, a great story arc. It's like I said, it's strangely violent, but it's got a good story to tell, and the performances are really, really awesome. Real good, in fact. I want to see this again because you ever get excited for watching a movie? You just can't wait to see it again, and you kind of like you're basically pissing in your pants. You can't wait to see it again. That's how I feel about this film because it is so well done, and it's got such a mood to it and a style to it that's quite unique to this type of film, and that is the film Strange Darling.
Oh, you didn't have that on your bingo card either.
No.
I love.
Well, the word "really" with a question mark was pretty much all over the game bingo card, So
I loved when Linus wrote out "fliggity-doo." I've never seen it written out. All right, so number 8 for MZ was Strange Darling. Raven Shadow, what is your number 8?
So this movie definitely got me in the feels. You know what I mean? And it triggers something that is I think a primal fear. You know what I mean? Where someone you love with all your heart, and how far will you go if that someone is taken from you or in peril, whether it's a significant other, whether it's a friend, or whether it's a companion. This movie stars an actor's got 2 films that we've seen this year, known for going over the top, but in a very subdued performance. And who'd have thought I'd be this fucking moved of Nicolas Cage on a quest for his truffle finding pig. So I guess my number 8 would be Pig. You know what I mean? With Nicolas Cage.
Yes, I know what you mean. I've seen the movie.
You know what I mean?
All right, Pig, number 8 for Raven Shadow. That's so we've had a few Patreon takeover picks already.
Yeah.
Let's see. We had Strange Darling.
Yep.
Pig.
Knife and Heart.
And Knife Plus Heart, yeah.
Knifeless Heart.
Knifeless Heart? Is that what you said?
You have a knifeless heart there, sir.
That's an excellent knifeless heart you have there.
Yeah, it's a sequel.
All right, number 8 for me. Yeah, I mean, I could just say this for every fucking pick, so I'll stop saying it. But, once again, could have been another one. Could have been another number in the list. But number 8 is from a director that is very, very much on the rise. His stock is rising. It has been for the last several years. And he put out one of the better horror films of the year and has another one lined up ready to go in 2025, early, like I think February. And he's been working with some bigger stars, getting more bigger budgets. And I can't wait to see what he's going to continue to do in horror or just in filmmaking, even if he veers away from horror. And that would be Osgood Perkins. And my number 8 is his film Long Legs.
Yeah.
So we got Nicolas Cage back to back there, Pig for Raven Shadow and Long Legs for me. This was a tough one because it's a really good movie. Like it could have been higher. I feel like because it was, not to say that it was like, not that it was unoriginal, but it had a lot of things that we've seen previously. It just did them really well, and also kind of pushed the envelope a little bit more than we've seen. So I think for that reason is kind of why it ended up maybe down a little bit. But like the marketing for this film was fucking beautiful. We talked about that, and great fucking film. I can't wait to see The Monkey coming in February of 2025 from Osgood Perkins.
Yeah.
All right, MZ, let's hear number 7.
Number 7? Wow, we're at number 7 already. Okay.
I know.
My number 7, man, I gotta tell you, I love the 80s. And I love how in 2024 they depict and how they depict of the 80s. And it's really pretty spot on, man. They this year, or at least in recent times, they seem to get the 80s aesthetic really kind of down. It's not over enhanced. It's not mocked. They're trying to make a point that it was a decent decade, filled with wild hair, wild clothes, wild music, wild parties, wild people, and wild movies. Because that was when the wildest shit ever came out. So when you think of the 80s, man, and this movie really sets it apart. Even during the seediest points of the 80s, in the most glitzy town in the country, Hollywood. But this is the end of a trilogy that I enjoyed throughout, and I feel that this had a decent ending. It put a nice stamp on it, and the way it ended was just great, and the way it got to the closing credits,
yeah,
chef's French kiss. And Mia Goth is just absolutely fantastic. I could watch her in anything, and I'll be just jaw wide open. So Maxine is my number 7 film. If you haven't seen it, I strongly urge you to. It's so good.
With jaws wide open.
Jesus. All right, Maxine is number 7 for MZ. Raven Chat, what's your number 7?
So definitely got my love for the 80s. Also, too, have some love for the 70s, and especially as they blended into the 80s, as decades often do. This one has a great actor. We've seen him in Monster Zero's favorite film of last year, The Suicide Squad by James Gunn. And it just had the right build up tension. And for those who grew up with late night talk show hosts, could definitely relate. So my number 7 is Late Night with the Devil.
All right, Late Night with the Devil. So that was Raven Shell's number 7. MZ, I don't know why hearing your breathing a little bit more today.
For Christ's sake.
What? What? Just because I'm fucking calling you out on it? It's annoying, and the listeners are going to get fucking pissed. Just move your mic up just like a hair. That's not a hair. That's
I don't care.
Now we can't fucking hear you. Put it down like oh my God. I tell him a hair and he's like,
How about right there?
Let's try that. That's a hair. Right. Thank you. All right. Jesus Christ.
Have you tried not breathing?
Yeah, I know. Just don't breathe, dude.
All right.
Jesus Christ. He's going to fucking pass out by the time we get to his next one. All right. Late Night with the Devil for Raven Shadow. And my number 7. Okay. This one we saw early in the year. I think it was the second film we did. And I I thought this movie. It's funny when we did this. I thought it was going to be like a contender for, top film. And then we had the year that we had, where it was just outrageous. But this is the follow-up film from director Emerald Fennell, and she had previously did Promising Young Woman and had won an Oscar for that. And there was just something. I mean, this isn't really horror per se. It's more of a psychological sort of horror, I guess. But I don't know. There's just something about this film. I love the characters in it. And Barry Keoghan is the biggest fucking creep in like he's just such a good creep. And this cat, it also introduced me some other people. Jacob Elordi, who's going to be in a bunch of stuff coming up. I think actually was he, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was cast as Frankenstein in. Yeah, he's cast as Frankenstein's monster in Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. He's got a bunch of other stuff coming up as well, but yeah, that movie just really, it's so fucked up and it's so good. So for me, number 7 is Saltburn. All right, MZ, let's hear number 6.
Okay, number 6 is a folk horror, but it's set in modern times. It's got a really great atmosphere. It's spooky. I think it should rank as one of the scariest films of the year. It knows how to build its tension. The characters are good. The characters are really good. In fact, they're conniving. There's double cross and just all out evil is going on here. It's not violent in a strong sense. I mean, gory. I mean, but it has that tension, and it builds that tension to an unbelievable degree, where you're just holding on to your armrests, like this, and you're like, and it's so well acted, and it's so well performed, and it's creepy. It's absolutely creepy, and it's hard, and it's a tough one to shake, especially when you consider the main prop in this movie. Outstanding performances, good character arcs, good story arcs. I love the way the story unfolded. Fantastic stuff. Nice, dark, gloomy, and spooky. And that is Oddity.
Yeah. All right. So we've got Oddity on 2 lists now. That was MZ's number 6. What's your number 6, Raven Shadow?
So, talking about, I guess, mainstream films, right? And I would assume a pretty large fucking budget by what we saw on screen. And normally I wouldn't go this route, but I would not have seen this movie if it wasn't for the show. I probably would have been like, yeah, I'll probably put it on my list that I never watch. Not that I don't want to watch it. It's just that the fuck, you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? And while I'm not even a fan of this franchise, I had a couple of toys in the early 80s. You know what I mean? I watched the Filmation cartoon more. And I remember the only one I saw in theaters was the 1985 version. And I literally don't remember that at all. But I gotta say, fucking Godzilla -1 was fucking dope as fuck. And again, MZ, I'm not putting you to task, but as someone who doesn't like a franchise, I enjoyed the picture. I just had an open-minded heart. Just saying. So yeah, my number 6 is Godzilla -1. Dope as shit. Treat.
Dope as shit. Is shit really dope?
Am I missing something with what you're saying, Raven Shadow?
No, I'm just saying that I don't like. You're a big Godzilla fan. I'm not a Godzilla fan, but I was able to put aside my not being a Godzilla fan to enjoy the movie.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. All right. So
And I love you.
my number 6. This
Godzilla -6.
this was a film we just did, and it's always interesting to me because I wonder how much recency bias plays a role in making the film list, the year-end list. And there were some things I really liked about this movie, and there were some things that I felt could have maybe been done a little bit better. But ultimately, like, I am going to remember this movie for years, and like, I'll remember certain scenes, and there's something about this, a je ne sais quoi, Raven Shadow. Speaking of French kisses, French
tell
chef's
me.
kisses, and yeah, like, so it could be a little recency bias, but ultimately, I think it just was a really well-made film, and the dialogue was so fucking good. It was some of the best dialogue, I think, all year. And so for me, number 6 is Heretic.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
yeah, outstanding. Hugh Grant was such a creep.
Such a dick. Yeah.
Yeah, I can say more, but we'll stop there. We just talked about it last week, so, or a few days ago, I guess. You guys can go listen to that. All right, let's go back to MZ. We're into the nitty gritty here. Number 5.
Yeah.
MZ.
Yeah. Yeah. My number 5 is probably the best scripted film of 2024. It's so well made. It's intelligent. It not only does it test the people that are in the film, it tests you as a viewer, and it questions you, even though that's not its main focus. Ultimately, it does test you, because otherwise, why would you talk about it? It's got really good performances. It's dark. It's gloomy. It's eerie. It's spooky. It's creepy, and it shows again. And I've been saying this for the longest time about how religion is treated in horror, and how it's always looked upon as a bad thing. And very rarely, if ever, since the days of The Exorcist, is it ever really considered a good thing. But once again, when you watch the film, you notice it. Yes, it is a discussion about religion, but it's also a discussion about the quality of that religion, and religions clashing against one another. And I find that to be a very exciting discussion, even though it's something I don't believe in. And so for my number 5 is Heretic.
There you have it. Okay, Raven Shadow, you're number 5.
Yeah, so my number 5 has made it to other folks' lists, and I would definitely echo the sentiments of my co-host on that. We did talk about the Eat the Rich culture or genre. I think this may, in a way, kind of do that. Society trying to elevate your status more than you are, and sometimes the grift's involved, and there's some shady machinations, and sometimes you dance around with your dick out, and that's weird. So my number 5 is Saltburn. Oh my god, creepy as fuck. Yeah, Saltburn.
All right.
Yeah.
Cocktober is coming again.
October.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Nos for cock too.
All right. My number 5. Once again, tough. But this one, there was just this one hit just right. And I feel like it hit at the right point in the year as well, for some reason. Like, I feel like we needed something like this. And it was cool to see a film that had a bit of a throwback kind of feel to it. but also was a bit of a night in the life of kind of film.
Mm.
And it had a great performance at the center of it. I know I'm going to butcher his name. I think I always do. It is David Dastmalchian, I think is how I say it. And I just thought he was great in this and just played the role so perfectly. And it was just such a fun movie. And it's one that I think I could watch annually. Like, I feel like this is one that would be fun to just watch. I don't know, like when during the year, maybe in the future it'd be like Halloween, because I'm pretty sure the film took place on Halloween.
I think it did.
Yeah. So in the future, I think it might be a Halloween watch. But yeah, that would be Late Night with the Devil. Just such a cool movie, such a really interesting concept. And we've seen some things like this before, but this one really did something a little bit different and fun. And yeah, so for me, it stood out a little bit. And my number 5 is Late Night with the Devil. All right, number 4, MZ.
Number 4 is a film that was higher on my list, but as the year continued, it started to drop lower and lower. Not because of anything that this film did not do that the other films did, just that the other films, I got a little bit more of an entertainment feel out of this. This one is hard to get a little bit entertained by, although it's a very well made movie. It's got its own tone. It's the only film that has this tone, and it's just wild. Very indicative of Silence of the Lambs, and I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. It's got a great advertising campaign. It's got almost a lack of a score, a musical score, which kind of heightens the believability of what you're seeing, and just all around great performances. The way the story just unravels itself, and the more the layers come off, the more that gets exposed, the more of a rabbit hole you're diving deep into, and you realize you're going into the pits of hell. And it's so goddamn creepy. And I think all the performances were fantastic. And Micah Monroe is just, when she did It Follows, I said, this is the movie that's going to make her a star. Now, she's still not a star, but she puts in a performance here that's really, really great, and even better than she did in It Follows. And I really hope some producers and directors and studios take notice of her, because she was fantastic here. And that is Longlegs.
All right. Longlegs is MZ's number 4. Raven Shadow, what's yours?
So, I mean, again, this is no secret. I'm probably the least horror guy on this show. So some of the films we discuss are right in my wheelhouse, whether it's a bunch of brothers getting together, maybe doing some revenge, maybe building a team. Maybe they all have different abilities or specialties, and you know what I mean? Maybe you got a big fucker, that's your big heavy, and you know what I mean? Are they right in what they're doing? That's maybe up to the beholder. Are they right in what they're doing? Well, we all cling to the truths from a certain point of view. But my number 4 is Riders of Justice with the great Mads Mikkelsen.
All right, Riders of Justice. I will say, not that hopefully it's not spoiling anything, but I didn't include this one on my list, not because I didn't love it, because I did, but it made it a little bit more difficult to figure out, and I was trying to keep it to horror, from recent horror, so it was very difficult to ruled that one out, but I did. So yeah, I did take it off my list, but I really loved it. It was such a good movie, so fun.
Yep.
All right,
I forgot all about that movie.
how could you
Thank
forget
you.
about it?
Very easy.
Well, it's on the
Oops.
list. Jesus. Maybe if you'd use my spreadsheet I made.
No, I took it off my list.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. All right.
Oh, so you forgot about the film, but knew
Yeah.
enough to take it off your list. That's cool.
I took it off my list the second it was announced.
Wow.
Oh.
All right. My number 4. This is also maybe a little bit of recency bias. I'm not sure, but a movie we did in December. And speaking, I can kind of say some of the same things I said about a previous film. This one was super sweet with adorable, likable characters and really tackled a mythology in a way that I've never seen before and dealt with real world issues that people deal with on a daily basis. So something really fucking just worked for me. I just really, really dug this film, and I could see it being one that gets championed because I think it's one that people probably might not see, maybe because the title is weird and long, or maybe they just don't know anything about it. But yeah, for me, number 4, humanist vampire seeking consulting suicidal person. Such a fucking adorable film. I loved it.
Sure.
So yeah, that's my number 4. All right, we're getting down to the fucking top 3 here, MZ. Let's hear it, man.
Yeah. Because I'm 5 years older than the rest of you guys.
I thought you could have stopped it because I'm 5 years old.
Because mentally I'm 5 years.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was fortunate enough to live to a point where I was able to witness this firsthand.
The space shuttle.
But that would only be if I was sick and I needed my mom to help me out with something. This is a comfort film for me. So much so I even got it on Blu-ray. I had to have it. It covers.
I must have it.
Skeletor, you are mine. And
Fuck you,
it's
He-Man.
so well acted, and it's got such a believability factor in the way it was shot. It really made you feel like you were watching a genuine, the genuine article. It's got some great humor in it. It's got some great comedy in it. And it's also got some great horror in it. It has some fantastic special effects when you figure what they were trying to do here. The story is intriguing, and it's spooky. And the way they set up the tension for this film is just it's just unmatched because it's so well done. And I enjoy this type of thing anyway. Yeah. Like I said, I was around during its time, so I could really enjoy the hell out of it and say, yeah, that's exactly what it was like. I'd change a couple of things, but nothing that would destroy the integrity of the film. And I thought David Dastmalchian was fantastic in this, and I want to see more of this guy because he's so great. Late Night with the Devil, my number 3 film.
All right. Late Night with the Devil. All right, Raven Chow.
Late Night with the Devil.
Is that a Spinal Tap song?
Yeah, that
Christmas
was,
with the Devil. Isn't that their song?
it was. The elves are wrapped in leather and the angels are in flames, or the stockings are in flames.
Yeah. All right. Number 3, Raven Chow. Let's hear it.
So again, my number 3 doesn't even need a fucking title. It just needs 3 letters, dude. Is this on? Is this on? Because it's got fucking all kinds of badass shit. It's got fucking evil governments, it's got violence, it's got underwater fight scenes, it's got bros being bros and just being brothers with beards going undercover. You know what I mean? But realizing that you got to betray your friend, but you love your friend, and you just bros. And it's going to be fucking badass fucking fight scenes over the tiz-up. It'd be RRR.
Nice. I wasn't sure where you're going with that. I'm like, wait a second. Did we watch this movie? But yeah, like now it all ties in. You fucking love that movie, huh?
I fucking love that movie so fucking much.
Have you watched it again?
I'm gonna when I had some of the boys over. We'll watch that.
I don't know. It's 3 hours long and it doesn't have any superheroes in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Italians.
I disagree. Those are some superheroes.
Yeah, it's true. It basically is a superhero movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose.
All right. So RRR, number 3 for Raven Shadow. Let's see. Let's pull up my list here. All right. What's going on here? Okay. So at first I thought you were going to go here. But so this movie, I'm just trying to think of how to explain it. It was a movie. It was an action movie.
Yep.
But it was based in mythology from different culture, Indian culture, and it had some of the best action in a movie in the last several years. And the way it was shot was just so fucking good. And it had a character you really rooted for. Once again, likable, incredibly likable character. And man, like I was kind of blown away by the acting, by the direction, and it was all one fucking dude. And that's Dev Patel and his film Monkey Man. Fucking blew me away. That movie, man, is so fucking good. It's so epic. And man, yeah, it really stuck with me. And I loved the inclusion of the cultural myths and all that. And man, it's just such a cool movie. And I love that we're getting stuff like that nowadays where sure, like it's kind of in the vein of like The Raid or maybe like even some Timo type stuff. I wouldn't say it goes as dark and as violent as some of his stuff, but it was right there with the action. So yeah, Monkey Man was just so much fun. So for me, yeah, it's my number 3. All right, MZ, getting there, man. We're almost done. Let's hear your number 2.
This one I was fighting myself with because I kept on going back and forth between 2 and 1. Is this going to be number 2? Is this going to be number 1? And for the longest time, I had it sitting at number 2. And then for a little while, I had it at number 1. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, man, it just doesn't feel right to me. It just feels better this way because I feel more confident with this list, having this film at number 2 and this film at number 1. And this is my number 2 film. It's weird when you see somebody surpass a form of filmmaking that you've been known for. And for the longest time, you're king of the mountain until you're no longer the king anymore. You're still on the mountain, but when somebody comes along and does it better, brighter, more fucked up, with a bigger story and most likely a bigger budget, it seems, you can't do anything but just stand back in awe at it. And that's what I did for roughly 2 hours when I was watching The Substance. when I'm watching this film, man, there is just so much to look at, and it's got a great story and fantastic performances, and it's slimy and greasy and gooey and bloody. It's a hell of a bloody movie too. And if I do not see 1, 2, or hopefully maybe 3 of these, Margaret Qualley, Demi Moore, Randy Quaid, Dennis Quaid, get some sort of Oscar nominations out of this, I would be surprised. I would, the director, she should be nominated. Screenplay. I mean, this movie has it all, and I couldn't stop watching it. Couldn't take my eyes off it. It's candy. It's so much eye candy for a horror fan. If you haven't seen it, watch it. You'll love it. So my number 2 is The Substance.
Nice.
All right. MZ's number 2, Substance. All right. Raven Shadow. Let's hear it, man. Number 2.
My number 2 is definitely a batshit crazy action picture from an amazing director that we all know and love. I think this is, from start to finish, this movie kills it. I like the backstory. It is the best Black Widow movie that we never got. And while I hate the idea of this film being remade for an American audience, I have complete faith in this director, and will watch anything they do, because I'm sure it'll be batshit crazy. So my second to last choice is The Shadow Strays.
All right. From Timo, who just brought him up.
Yeah.
The Shadow Strays is Raven Shadow's number 2. All right. My number 2. This was the tough one. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. I knew right off the bat when I was looking at the list, I'm like, I know what my top 2 are. What's going to be 1? What's going to be 2? It was tough. And ultimately, I ended up going number 2 with this one. It I did. I took a big number 2 and thought about it. No. So for me, I love this movie so much, and I love the conversation we had about it. And I think that this is a really important movie, Raven Shadow. I think it's very important. And I think it is creating a dialogue that is much needed in not only this country, but in the world. And that is to talk about mostly how men see women, how they're viewed through a lens of usefulness. That sucks, right? Like, and that determines their outlook and how they try to, it determines a lot. And when you feel like you're no longer useful, like, that's not a good feeling, right? And you're trying to relive past glory, and it's just a no-win situation, but if we can sort of start to get rid of that stigma and to get rid of that feeling of, people become no longer useful at a certain age, then I think, we'll be in a much better place, and people can be who they want to be and age gracefully and in a way that doesn't stress their bodies or their emotions or their mind anymore. So yeah, for me, it's just so tough, but I ended up going Substance number 2.
Yeah.
All right. So MZ, if you would, why don't? Well, you know what? I think I have the Patreon list finally fucking finished. Let me read that first. I just got to figure out. There's a tie for the last spot, so let me just see which one wins here. Okay, I got it. It was easy to figure out that tie. Okay, so let me just edit this real quick. Okay, so here's the Patreon list, and get rid of that. Okay, so let me just count and make sure it's 13. I think it is. Okay, it is. Okay. So, all right. So the people who submitted, let me just get the list here. We had several Patreon listeners, supporters give their lists. And the way I did it was I made it percentage based. So if you had to have seen a certain percentage of the films to rank all 13, because I just didn't think it was fair if someone had only seen 20 movies to rank 13, you know? So the way I did it was if someone saw less than 50% of the films, they could submit a top 3. If they saw 50 to 59%, they could do a top 5. If they did 60 to 74%, they could do a top 10. Or 75% or more of the films that we did, then they could submit a top 13. I figured that was a good threshold, and we all kind of talked about that. So that's kind of where it sat. So we had several people who sent in lists. I won't run through how many they watched or any of that, but we did have one person who watched 100% of the films. I will say that, and I'll talk about them when we get there. But we had Evil Corny, we had Marion, we had Vessa, we had Linus, we had EF Contentment, we had Double D, and was that it? Yeah. So those are the folks who submitted their lists, and EF Contentment gets A plus because he watched all 61 films. 100%. Raven Shadow, give him a fucking gold star.
Such a brother.
So,
brother rating out of 10.
EF watched them all, man. And yeah, people gave some Dear God Knows. Not everyone did, but I think we'll do that on the Patreon since that's when we do our Dear God Knows. So, yeah, so here is the list for Patreon. Yeah, go ahead.
Did you get Vessa? Did you get Vessa?
Yeah, I said Vessel.
I'm
You
sorry.
said Vessa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, use your ears.
Ah!
All right. So going from 13 to 1. Number 13, In a Violent Nature. Number 12, Last Stop in Yuma County. Number 11,
That was good.
The Shadow Strays. Number 10, Strange Darling. Number 9, Exuma. Number 8, Heretic. Number 7, Godzilla -1. Number 6, I Saw the TV Glow, which hasn't appeared on any of our lists, right?
No,
Yeah,
not
good
yet.
Reason.
Not yet, yeah. Wow, geez. Number 5, Long Legs. Number 4, Late Night with the Devil. Number 3, Rebel Ridge.
Yeah.
Number 2, Poor Things. And your number 1 film from Patreon supporters, The Substance. All right, so that's that. MZ, if you would, why don't you run down your 13 to 2 and then give us your number 1?
Okay, my number 13 is Infested. Number 12, Mads. Number 11, Love Lies Bleeding. Number 10, Lisa Frankenstein. Number 9, Abigail. Number 8, Strange Darling. Number 7, Maxine. Number 6, Oddity. Number 5, Heretic. Number 4, Long Legs. Number 3, Late Night with the Devil. Number 2, The Substance. and my number 1 film, you know, history has a weird way of teaching us shit that we had no idea even existed or happened. And it's a shame, especially when you're dealing with something like this. And it's strange because the narrative of this film is almost as similar to The Substance, just set in a different time and treated with a different manner. But it's got a gut punch of an ending. It's got a gut punch of a beginning. And the middle is just complete and utter dread and hopelessness. It's to me, a number 1 film should be something that should make you feel uneasy and uncomfortable. And watching this the entire time just made me feel that way. And if it made me feel that way, imagine how it felt with certain people back then felt. It couldn't have been fun. But it was. I feel that this movie was taught in, was shown, rather, I should say, in a realistic manner, and it shows how mental illness is something that gets treated, very lightly back then, and is, comparatively speaking, even lightly now. It should be treated with a little bit more positivity and seriousness. It's a gloomy film. There's never a sunny day in the sky in this film. It's all clouds or rain, and it's dreary, and it's filled with hopelessness. And I loved it. And it was my favorite film of the year. It was The Devil's Bath.
Wow.
Really?
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 That, you know what's so funny? I actually wrote in a film, and it was the wrong one. The way you were describing it, I thought for sure was going to be something else. Huh?
Compromised.
How was it compromised?
Yeah.
It's only compromised if I feel that it was compromised.
No, Wolfie compromised.
No, I wrote the right one in now. But when he was describing it, I was guessing, and I'm like, oh, he means this movie, and then yeah, that wasn't it. So, wow, really? Oh, flick-a-doo-doo. All right, so MZ's number one, Devil's Bath. Wow. Yeah. All right.
A Patreon exclusive. By
It
the
is
way.
Patreon takeover. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Raven Shadow.
All right.
Do you want to run down your list? Do you have it there? Do you know what's what order you read it in?
I think so. Yeah. My number 13, Destroy All Neighbors. Number 12, Street Trash 2024. 11, Lisa Frankenstein. Number 10, The Substance. Number 9, Strange Darling. Number 8, Pig. Number 7, Late Night with the Devil. Number 6, Godzilla Minus Uno. Number 5, Saltburn. Number 4, Riders of Justice. Number 3, RRR. Number 2, The Shadow Strays. Number 1, batshit crazy picture. I don't even know whatever the fuck. There's belching. There's life creation. It's a metaphor, symbolism, all kinds of things. There's mainstream. There's masturbation. There's all kinds of fucked up shit. You know what I mean? Poor things.
All right.
Yeah.
And
amazing performances. Amazing by the lead actress. Emma Stone. Emma Stone.
Yeah, the lead actress.
And an unrecognizable, fearless performance is the great Emma Stone.
All right. So Raven Shadow's number 1 is Poor Things. All right. So let's go down my list here. Number 13, Exuma. Number 12, Lisa Frankenstein. Number 11, Cobweb, the South Korean one, Raven Shadow.
Fuck.
From Kim Ji-woon. Number 10, Knife Plus Heart. Number 9, Oddity. Number 8, Long Legs. Number 7, Saltburn. Number 6, Heretic. Number 5, Late Night with the Devil. Number 4, Humanist Vampire Seeking Consulting Suicidal Person. Number 3, Monkey Man. Number 2, The Substance. And my number 1 film, I had a feeling it might be when we talked about it. We just fucking raved about the movie, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I'm actually a little surprised it wasn't on one person's list. But yeah, it unbelievable movie, and from a director who we've seen one of his other films previously on the show, and I remember really enjoying that film, but I know it didn't necessarily work for everybody when we talked about it. But in this one, everything is just fucking firing on all cylinders. And that is the latest film from Yorgos Lanthimos. Actually, not the latest. He had one other one that came out this year. But the latest that we did on the show, and that is Poor Things.
My dude.
So that means Raven Shadow guessed my number one. That was the only one. Raven Shadow, you the only one.
I am the
I
only
actually,
one.
if MZ had said the other movie I wrote down, you would have been right on your other one. But so I guess Substance for MZ. I was wrong. I guess Humanist Vampire for Raven Child. I was wrong. It wasn't even on your list, Raven Child. Do you remember that movie?
I do, yeah.
You liked
The
it. You
thing, the girl.
you talked about it. You loved it.
You know what I did? I think I have reverse bias.
Recency bias.
Yeah, I almost said regional bias, but it doesn't make any sense.
You have reverse bias.
Yeah, I was like, I don't live near there. I can't relate with my regional bias. If it was set in Boston, I would have liked it
Jesus.
more. Yeah.
All right, that's fair. And then MZ picked The Substance for me, and MZ was close. That was my number 2. And Strange Darling for Raven Shadow, which it was on your list, so he wasn't totally off.
Fairly high.
I'm actually surprised. I thought Humanist Vampire was going to be on Raven Shadow's list, but nope.
Nope.
All right, that is the list. Now I have to do the master list, and because I was doing the Patreon list during, I have a little bit of work to do. I normally keep up, but I wasn't able to keep up on this one. So, do you guys want to just talk about the lists, or any thoughts or surprises? Or
we could do honorable mentions.
Well, we do that on the Patreon show.
All right. So what do we do? What else do we do on the Patreon? Dear God, No Award.
Yep.
Honorable mentions, and what else?
Well, we're not. I mean, that's for the Patreon. So just talk about like
for the Patreon.
Yeah, talk about lists. Like, are you surprised that some didn't appear? That some others did appear?
Are we doing biggest surprises, biggest disappointments?
That's Patreon. That's Patreon.
Okay, all right. That's what I wanted to know.
You guys just need to talk while I add shit up.
Right.
That's all.
Right.
That's what I'm getting at.
That's fine by me. Okay, well, let me talk about the best non-reviewed horror films that I saw. There were a couple of them. I would strongly suggest you check out The First Omen. If you have not seen The First Omen, check it out. It is quite good. It is really good, in fact. For a film that follows itself in the Omen franchise, and it would probably be like the fifth film. It would be the fifth film in the Omen, fifth or sixth film in the Omen franchise, and for it to come out this good is ridiculous. It's so well done. It goes into areas where you wouldn't expect. It's almost a lot like Immaculate, where an American nun travels to Italy to serve in the churches of Rome, and it's just a wild ride. It can get vulgar at times. In order to know what I mean, you have to see this movie. It's pretty wild. Another film that I would recommend is a short film. I think it's a short film. And you could watch it on YouTube, and it's called Milk and Cereal. No. And cereal is like serial killer. And it's about what happens when a gag is taken too far, a practical joke is taken too far, and it's shot on like simple camera work. It's done really cheap. It could be anywhere between $50 to $500 to make this thing, and it's a very effective movie, and it's on YouTube. Milk and Cereal. Serial as in serial killer. Check it out. It's on YouTube. It's for free. Check it out. Now, as far as the lists go, I mean, I stayed away from films that were not released this year. Okay. So I didn't have RRR. I didn't have Godzilla -1. I didn't have what was the one that you picked, Raven?
Poor
that
Things.
Was your no. Poor Things was released this year.
No, it wasn't because it had won an Oscar.
Well, yeah, I know it won an Oscar, but it was but I saw the release date. It said late February, February 27, I think.
Yeah, we saw it before it became an Oscar movie.
Yeah, no. Yeah, what I'm saying is though that it came out it got released in 2023, so it was part of the Oscars.
Oh, well,
So-
IMDb said February 24.
I don't know. IMDb says 2023 to me when I'm looking at it,
Oh,
but
it is?
whatever.
All right.
It wasn't on your list
Right.
anyway, so I guess
No,
it doesn't
wasn't
matter.
on my list. No. So like, and the other one that you saw, Raven Shaw, the one that you put high up, I think number 2 or number 3, whatever that one was.
The Shadow Strays.
No, the other one. With Mads Mikkelsen.
Riders of Justice.
Riders of Justice. Yeah, that was like a 2022 film. So that wasn't added in there. So I kicked those films out.
You kicked him out of bed.
Yep. The one that I had the hardest time with was Infested. I wasn't sure if it was good enough to hit the top 13 to make number 13 because I kept on kicking that one off, replacing it with something else. Kicking it off, replacing it with something else. Yeah, and I just kept on doing it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I even had Infested as high as number 12. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, Mads is really, really good. And because of its inventiveness, the technical aspects. But, but we'll talk about it in the Patreon about what my honorable mention was, because it was either that or this one particular honorable mention. I have, let me see, 1, 2, 3. I have 4 honorable mentions. So, because this year was very, very difficult. There was I guess we should consider ourselves lucky that we have 13 spots to fill and not just 10.
Yeah, true.
Because this would have been so much more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Because I honestly think if we were to just say that we would have the top 10 rather than top 13, our top 10 would probably be a little different. But so I'm glad that we got 13 spots to fill rather than just 10. It makes it a little easier on us and especially this year, because it was really difficult. This was probably the most difficult year we've ever had, filling up spots and trying to figure out which films are going to make the cut and which films aren't.
I would say 110%. I mean, truly, if it was just 10, my 10 wouldn't change. I just had a little bit more fun with, 13 through 11. That's why I think I said the word divisive earlier, and I agree I was incorrect with that. But just like our lists there was still some overlap, but I think we had a lot of less overlap this year than we've had in years past, just for the sheer volume of content, of great pictures.
I expected more overlap. I expected a ton of overlap this time around.
Really? See, I didn't. Everything played out the way I foresaw it.
Oh,
what are you fucking
Nostradamus?
Darth Vader?
Thank you.
You got the Force?
Yes.
Everything worked out the way I predicted it would.
Yes, I'm right.
All right, I'm almost done. I just have to do mine. I got everyone else's in the spreadsheet here, and it adds it up for me. So, let's see. Got some interesting results already, though. But
between the substance and Devil's Bath substance, it just kept on going back and forth, and I'm like, oh, my head is starting to hurt.
Yeah, you didn't go with the tablecloth? Or the coffee table? What is it called?
Oh, the coffee table. Yeah.
I'm actually, I am surprised, MZ, that Devil's Bath was your number one. I remember you liking it, but I didn't think at the time that it was like number one material, Was it something that just stuck with you, or maybe I just misremember your thoughts on it?
Yeah. I felt really strong about it. It was just a very well-made film and just bleak.
Bleak AF, yeah.
just complete hopelessness. At that point, I knew it was going to be up there. I wasn't sure if it was going to be number one yet, but I knew it was going to be up on my list. Not only just on the list, but up high on the list.
There's a couple of movies I'm surprised didn't appear on more lists. I'm actually surprised Humanist Vampire. I know Lisa, like, I don't want to relate these two movies to each other because they're totally different movies, but I feel like between Lisa Frankenstein and Humanist Vampire, like I feel like it was going to be one or the other that ended up on some people's lists, and it seems like Lisa Frankenstein did it more for you guys.
Yeah, and for sure, I mean they're a killer double feature, and the humanistic vampire, whatever the fuck. The title burns my ass. I'll tell you that much. It's too.
That's
long.
why you didn't put it on your list.
No.
Because it's too long.
It's just too goddamn long.
You don't like watching movies when they're too long. Now you don't like movies because the titles are too long.
That's why RR got so hard, because it was just 3 letters. Perfect.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, Mads was 4 letters, and I didn't see it on your list.
Yeah, that's true.
I do have my
Glitches.
Recreational biases. What do you call it?
Regional biases.
I have my regional biases.
Your recency bias.
Glitches.
Recency biases.
I'm surprised nobody had Love Lies Bleeding on their list.
It was tough, man.
Yeah.
That I was really shocked on.
There's no wrong list this year. I mean, there was just so many. These are the films that immediately stood out to me. But this probably was the best year, top to bottom, for pictures that we've discussed.
Let's see. I'm surprised nobody picked I Saw the TV Glow, because I know you guys raved about it.
You know what? I'm glad I saw it, and I did like it. I just don't know what my reviewing. Like, I would love to talk to somebody. I've been talking to people who've seen it, and it was good. I just don't know if I need to ever watch it again.
Mm-hmm.
Another film I'm surprised didn't make anybody's list was The Vortilac.
Yeah, that was.
Because that was on my list too.
Yeah, that was on.
But for a short amount of time, really, it was on there.
All right, let's see. Okay, I think I have it now. So let me just see. We may have some ties, so I may have to do some tiebreakers here. Yeah, we have 3 movies tied. Okay, so the tiebreaker goes, if it appeared higher on someone's list, it moves it up. So for this one, it's going to bump it up. And
Bump it.
so that will be that. Okay. So then we had tie with there's 2 films with 13 points. Let me see. That would be that tiebreaker. Why am I echoing? Blah, blah. Hey.
You're not echoing.
Well, I am over here.
No.
All right. So that's, sorry, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. So we have a bunch tied at the bottom here. I just got to break this tie. Shit.
Ain't never gonna break this tie. That motherfucker do the math.
You know what? I think we're gonna have a. I hate doing ties. No, I hate having ties. But I think we have to have a tie because the bottom 3 films all have the same amount of points, and they're all number 3 on someone's list. So let's see here. How do we break this? You know what? I hate to do this, and I feel like a jerk for doing it, but I'm gonna. If it's a Patreon pick, I'm actually gonna bump that down. That's the tiebreaker. Is that if it has to be on one of our lists? Is that shitty? Oh, anyone fucking listening? Okay, great.
No, whatever you have to do, man.
All right. So yeah, we'll do that. Okay. So 0.1. Okay, so now let me try and redo this again. All right. All right, let's do it then. So the master. Where the fuck is he?
Oh, just don't worry about him. Just do it. He knows we're still on the air.
All right.
Oh, God, he needs a cigarette, is what it is. It's been an hour and a half, 2 hours now. All right.
Okay, so here's the list. We do have a tie, unfortunately. Okay. Ready, Raven Chat? I was going to do the fucking list and you were just fucking gone.
No, I had to go. I had a small bang I had to take care of.
A small bang.
A small bang.
Okay. We have a tie.
Okay.
I hate ties, but there's just no tiebreaker for this. Okay, so number 13 is from the Patreon. Actually, is this Patreon? Yeah, it's from the Patreon list. And that would be Rebel Ridge.
Oh.
Number 12 is the tie. We have RRR and Monkey Man are tied at number 12 because it ended up being number 3 on your list and number 3 on mine.
Okay.
Let's see. This is really annoying. It's the echo.
Yeah.
I don't know if let me see where it's coming from. I think it's you, Raven Shadow. Can you just quickly unplug your headset and plug it back in or something maybe?
Yep.
Turn it off, turn it on. Hopefully that takes care of it.
Yep.
Check. Yeah,
Good.
that was it. Can you talk, Raven Shadow?
Hello.
Okay, cool. It's gone. All right. So let me just start over real quick. Rebel Ridge, number 13. Number 12 is a tie between RRR and Monkey Man. Number 11 is Oddity. It appeared on 2 lists. Number 10 is The Devil's Bath, appearing on 1 list. Number 9 is Strange Darling, and that appeared on 3 lists. It was everyone but mine, I guess. Patreon and YouTube. Number 8 is Godzilla -1, and that appeared on 2 lists, Raven Shadow and Patreon. Number 7 is The Shadow Strays, and that appeared on 2 lists. Raven Shadow's number 2, and also appeared on Patreon. Number 6 is Saltburn, and that ended up appearing on 2 lists, me and Raven Shadow. Number 5 is Heretic, and that ended up on 3 lists. That was everyone but Raven Shadow. Number 4 is Long Legs. Long Legs appeared on everyone's list but Raven Shadow. Do you remember that movie, Raven Shadow?
Yeah, Nicolas Cage with the hair and the fucking FBI.
I'm just making sure. Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't like it? Didn't do it for
No,
you?
it was good. I went with Pig. Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, and let me just write the last one down so I'm not writing as I'm announcing. All right. So I just did Long Legs was number 4. Number 3, Late Night with the Devil, that appeared on everyone's list.
Yep. Even
And
Raven Shadow.
when I say everyone, I mean Patreon collectively. Everyone on the because I took everyone from Patreon and added them all up into 1 list. Number 2, Poor Things, appeared on everyone's list but MZ. It was very high. It was number 1 or number 2 on everyone but MZ's list. I'm still shocked, MZ. That didn't appear on your list.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
What? Did we watch that this
Really?
Really?
All right, so let me go through. I'll run through the whole thing. This is the master list for Trick or Treat Radio. This is me, MZ, Raven Shadow, and it's collectively everyone on Patreon. There's a Patreon list. Okay, number 13, Rebel Ridge. There's a tie at number 12, RRR and Monkey Man. Number 11, Oddity. Number 10, The Devil's Bath. Number 9, Strange Darling. Number 8, Godzilla -1. Number 7, The Shadow Strays. Number 6, Saltburn. Number 5, Heretic. Number 4, Longlegs. Number 3, Late Night with the Devil. Number 2, Poor Things, and probably surprising nobody because it appeared on everyone's list as number 1 or 2, except for Raven Shadow. It was number 9, I think. Something like that. Number 1 film of... Oh, you know what? I did the drum roll for everyone, for MZ, and I forgot to do it for everyone else. Oh, well. I'll do it for the master list here. The number 1 film of 2024, The Substance.
Wow.
There you go. Really? The Substance had 41 total points. Poor Things had 38. Late Night with the Devil had 37. It was awfully close between those.
Wait, how much did The Substance have?
41.
And how much did Poor Things have?
38.
Wow.
So pretty close. Let's see. Yeah, it. I think I like doing the 4th list. I think it adds. I don't know, just like I feel like we sometimes veer off into weird places with our lists at times, and I feel like it captures the spirit of the show.
Consensus.
Yeah, the consensus, I guess, is a better way of putting it.
Zeitgeist.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, there you go. What do you guys think? Anyone surprised by the outcome of that?
Kind of, but not angry.
Go ahead.
No, I'm kind of surprised, but say I'm not like, what the fuck? It's not like I truly thought Poor Things would be higher overall. Truly.
Well, see, I didn't pick Poor Things because it's a Hollywood film.
Oh, motherfucker.
And it doesn't.
Well, so is The Substance, essentially.
No, it's not. No, it really is not.
Longlegs is a Hollywood film. I don't know. I think
it's not a Hollywood film. It wasn't made in Hollywood. It wasn't even made in the country. It's not a Hollywood film.
Hollywood films can be made outside of the
actors.
country.
It has former Hollywood actors, first of all. It has former Hollywood actors because you really don't see Dennis Quaid anymore. You don't really see Demi Moore anymore. So they're no longer A-list actors anymore anyway. The film was not filmed in Hollywood or filmed in the United States.
So few of these were actually filmed in Hollywood. That's such a bullshit thing.
Yeah.
Like, but that's so subjective.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
Yeah. Star Wars was made in Tunisia. Was that a Hollywood film?
What?
Star Wars was made in Tunisia. Was that a Hollywood film?
Tunisia, not Tuncio.
No.
I was going to say, what's Tunisia?
Yeah, it was filmed in London. Like, it was filmed all over. Like, that's
yeah.
That's
and I wouldn't vote for that
Hollywood film.
Yeah, and I wouldn't vote for that.
Who cares where it's made?
I do.
Why?
Because that's my
That's
my criteria.
I'm a
That's my
Z-lister.
criteria.
All right.
It was made in Belgium, I think, or I forget where it was filmed, but it wasn't made here.
No, it wasn't. But it's whatever. Anyways, I'm not upset with the. I think, like, for me, The Substance and Poor Things were like 1 and 2. Like, so the fact that Substance ended up being number 1, like, I think that's fucking awesome because it's a fucking crazy movie, and I love that we got to see a film like that this year. So that seems to capture the sort of spirit of the show, with the listeners, with our picks. And The Substance there was a few. Let's see, The Substance, Late Night with the Devil. I think those were the only 2 films that appeared on everyone's list.
Not that, but think about this. Who talks about more in horror circles? The Substance or Poor Things?
Oh, The Substance for sure. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. But your criteria of disqualifying it because it's a Hollywood film, I think, is weird. But Yorgos Lanthimos isn't fucking Hollywood. Dude's from oh shit, where is he from? I forget.
Kansas.
No, he's definitely not from Kansas. Greece, that's it. He's Greek.
Terrifier 3 didn't make anyone's list.
No. It's not,
And rightfully so.
yeah, it's not really your movie. I mean, it's awesome that it was number 1. Don't get me wrong, but you know.
Yeah, if this was a top goriest, I mean, that would be on the list somewhere for sure. But
Look at this. Oh, Poor Things filmed in Ireland, the UK, Hungary, US. That's interesting. Mostly in Hungary on sound stages. Look at that. Huh, that's pretty interesting, huh?
Practical locations, no CGI. That's cool though.
All right. Well, that's gonna do it. So
not only that, but it's also almost 2 years old. Okay, so don't give me that crutch.
no, it's not. It came out at the very tail end. Actually, you're right, MZ. It did the IMDb on the details. It says it was released on February 27th, but I believe that was the either VOD release or the wide release. It got in order to get on the Oscars, it had to come out in Los Angeles in 2023. Yeah. So
either way, I don't put in a film on my top films of 2024 films that came out early 2023. It's just not going to happen.
It wasn't early 2023. It was late 2023, like last week of 2023. But that was only so it could get into Oscar contention, and then it officially got like a wide release in 2024. But whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I was born December 27th, 76. I had like 4 days in 76. Like,
yeah, you still came out in 76.
But he went all year long being one age, and then yeah. All right, well that's it. So that is our list. What do you guys think? You disagree? You agree? What do you something missing? You're surprised about? Anything like that? Let us know. Podcast at trickortreatradio.com. Yeah, that's it. You guys got anything else before we say goodbye?
Nope.
Rich, how you forgot something? Nope. You're looking pretty hard at your list.
I was just checking, make sure I had. Yeah, no, it was fucking. Yeah, I ain't mad at anybody.
All right. Well, that's going to do it. So if you guys want to continue to hear more year-end stuff over on our Patreon, we're going to have a companion piece where we talk about the Dear God No Award, the worst film of the year. We're going to talk about some of our honorable mentions, just discuss the year in film in greater detail. And we also have new superlatives, new awards. We're doing... well, maybe we'll come up with snappy names, but MZ didn't like the snappy names thing. We're doing, what is it, most disappointing and most surprising? Can't hear you, MZ.
Fuck.
MZ, we can't hear you. Okay, well, I don't know what the fuck's going on with him. We couldn't. I saw your lips move, but we couldn't hear you.
No, you couldn't.
So what'd you say?
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
I asked you a question, though, and then I saw your lips moving, so I thought you were talking to me.
No, I didn't hear you. What? Dude, it's a whole thing here, okay?
Okay.
Just give me a break. Just what the fuck is
I don't know the whole thing. I was asking what the 2 new superlatives that we're doing this year. Was it most surprising and most disappointing? Was that what it was?
Yes. We added 2 superlatives to this. It's to go along with the Dear God No Award. We're also doing 2 new superlatives. We're adding the biggest surprise and the biggest disappointment.
All right, there you go. So we're going to do that on the Patreon show. And we're also doing top 5s, our own personal top 5 lists. So if you guys want to catch that, you can go catch it on the Patreon. All right. That's it. So let's say goodbye. Let's say goodbye to 2024 and say hello to 2025. MZ.
Arrivederci, douchebags, and see you in 25.
All right, Raven Shadow.
All right, hey, it was on the fucked up one. Hope you all stay alive in 2025. Right?
Well, sure. Yeah, it's your thing. You don't.
Yeah, I know.
You don't need us to tell you what to say.
No, I could use some positive reinforcement. You know what I mean? But yeah, just fucking keep your head down, try to stay alive, and go punch Nazis.
And enjoy the guilt, right?
Enjoy the guilt. Oh,
Okay.
don't forget about the guilt.
Yeah. Embrace the guilt.
Embrace the guilt. Just fucking.
All right, that is going to do it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to our inane ramblings as we tend to do. It's fun, always fun to put together the top 13 list. Definitely some surprises, but then some not so other surprising developments. And I think 2024 was definitely one of the stronger years for films. Crazy, we've been doing this.
Mhm.
This is our 12th year, and this, well, I guess technically was our 11th year for the most part, but 11th into 12th year in 2024. But maybe one of the best years in film that we've done on the show, if not one of the best, one of the top, top three for sure. So I'm excited for 2025 to see what it brings. And yeah, 2024 thankfully wasn't as bad as like 2020 or 2021. But I'm definitely looking forward to moving forward. Although there's some things I'm not too excited about, but we'll get to that. All right, well, that's going to do it. So everyone, thank you for tuning in. Thank you guys for supporting the show in 2024 and for hanging out with us and spending your time with us. And I hope you all have a fantastic beginning of 2025, and I hope all your hopes and dreams come true. So that's going to do it. We'll see you guys, I don't know, next time you listen to us. Might be in a couple days, might not. All right, we'll see you.